Hello everyone, this is Ravinder Dundra and welcome to my channel. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the topic from class 9th economics, that is the story of village Palampur. In the previous lectures about this chapter, we have already discussed about this introduction, overview, and we have also discussed factors of production, and that we have seen about this land, labor, physical capital as well as human capital. And we have also discussed about this modern farming methods, multiple cropping, green revolution, and we have also seen about this some other topics in this chapter. So now in continuation with that, next what we are going to discuss is about that the next topic, that is who will provide the labor. So you all know that in the factors of production we have discussed about labor, land, labor. So we have already discussed about land, whether it will sustain with the modern farming methods or with the multiple cropping. So now the next highly required thing in the production process is labor. So who will provide the labor in this village Palampur and how it is provided? So we will see that now in this. So what it is saying is that labor is the next necessary factor of production. As I have mentioned that after land, the next one is labor, and here we can classify the farmers mainly into two different parts. One is small farmers, the second one is medium and large farmers. We have already discussed who are these small farmers, who are these medium and large farmers. So from where they will get this labor to cultivate or to produce any crop in this village. So let us see for about this small farmers. So small farmers provide labor for themselves. That means the small farmers who are cultivating a less amount of land or sometimes landless people, what they do is that they depend upon their own labor, either maybe from family members or maybe from their close relatives or this community in which they all are living, but usually they will not get the labor from outside, either from their family or from their close relatives or community. So by using this family labor only, they will go for this cultivation. Then the next one is about what? Medium and large farmers. And for this medium and large farmers, where they will get this labor. So what they are saying is that this medium and large farmers, they hire from farm laborers to work on their fields. That means they will hire the labor. Hiring means recruiting or taking the labor from landless people or small farmers, and they will make them to work on their fields. And this farm labor comes from landless families or small landowner families. As I have mentioned, this medium and large farmers, they will arrange or they will hire labor to work on their fields. And whom they will hire? They will mainly hire landless labor or sometimes people from small land owners. So by hiring these people, they make them to work on their fields. And here again, what they will do is that they will pay some wages to these workers, and these wages sometimes it may be in the form of cash. They'll directly give their daily wages in the form of cash. Sometimes they may also provide in kind. In kind means what? Once the crop is harvested, they may provide some kind of food grains to this labor. So it is either paid in the form of cash or in the form of in kind, which means either providing grains, food grains after harvesting. And sometimes this labor is hired on daily basis. That means if they are working from morning to evening, they will be paid in the evening. But sometimes some labor, they are hired on a yearly basis. That means for entire year they have to work under this medium and large farmers, and after the end of the year they may get their payment. And here one more important thing is that there is a huge competition among the labor to work in the fields. Why? Because they have no other work. They had to work in these fields of medium and large farmers. So there is a huge competition among themselves. Because of that, the wages they get is very, very low. And because of that only, some of the farmers, some of the laborers, they face a lot of problems. Why? Because they work from morning to evening, but the wages which they get is very, very lesser. So this is how the village Palampur or the people of village Palampur, they manage the labor to work in the farms. And the next question arises, that means the next factor of production is this capital. So the capital needed for this farming, who will get this, who will provide this capital, or from where they will get this capital to cultivate or to do this agriculture. So again here again, if you can see, we will divide them into two different groups. One is small farmers, the second one is medium and large farmers. So these small farmers, what they usually do is that they borrow money from the large farmers or money lenders. Usually, why? Because they do not have any money or any capital required for the growth of their agriculture. So in order to keep some investment such as fertilizers, or for plowing we need tractor, or we also need some other things. So in order to provide all these things, what we require is that we require some kind of capital. So this capital, from where they will get is that these small farmers, they will borrow this from large farmers. Sometimes they may also borrow from these money lenders, or sometimes also from these traders who sell these inputs such as fertilizers or pesticides, whatever is required for this growth of agriculture. But what is the drawback here is that the rate of interest is very, very high. This large farmers, money lenders or traders, what they will do is that, of course, they provide loan to these small farmers, but the loan which they are providing will be at a higher rate of interest, and because of this higher rate of interest, the farmers who have taken the loan, they are unable to repay back to these large farmers, money lenders or traders. It was very difficult for these farmers to repay that loan. Then what is the capital, from where they will get capital for this medium and large farmers? So this medium and large farmers, they will get the capital. How they will get is that they have their own savings from farming. What is this own savings is that usually in the previous year, whatever they have cultivated, in that the extra surplus what they have produced, they might have sold in the market, and whatever the money they received or the profit which they have received from this farming, usually what they do is that they'll keep it in they'll save it for future purpose in the banks or in their home itself. So when the next year comes, when they go for next year cropping, what they'll do is that they'll use this money for cultivating this crops. So this medium and large farmers, usually they do not depend upon any others for to get this capital. They depend upon themselves, or they depend upon their savings. But whereas here, if we can take this small farmers, they had to depend on large farmers, money lenders or traders, and they are even unable to repay this loan to this money lenders or large farmers. Why? Because the rate of interest is very, very high. So because of this, the small farmers are always facing trouble, whereas large and medium farmers, they have their own savings to invest in the agriculture or in the farming. So the next one which we are going to discuss is that where this surplus after cultivating, after harvesting, where the excess amount of food grains or whatever the grains they have produced, where they will sell, what is the market for them. So next we will discuss about that question. Next we will discuss about this, the sale of the surplus farm products. What do you mean by this surplus? Usually each and every farmer, what they do is that whatever they produce, they require only very few amount of that what they have produced, and remaining excess, we call it as this surplus. So surplus means, you can say, excess of anything. So here in this village, for example, if they are producing wheat, for example, if they are producing 100 bags of wheat as normal farmer, in that they may require only 20 bags for their consumption, and remaining 80 bags we can call it as this surplus, or the excess amount of grains which they have produced, we may call it as this surplus. So what do they do with the surplus farm production? What do they do? Where do they sell? So that now we will see. So here if we can see, farmers retain a part of the wheat for family's consumption. That means whatever they produce, entire thing they will not sell in the market, or they will not consume for themselves. What they do is that a part of the family's wheat will be used for family's consumption, and the remaining part will be sold in the market. So where they will sell, how they will sell is that usually whatever the extra surplus they have, they'll take it to the market and they'll sell it in the market. But here if you see, it is the medium and large farmers who supply wheat to the market. Why? Because usually already, if you take small farmers condition, they already produce very less. In that, if they keep most of the thing, they had to keep most of the grains for their family's consumption, and the excess amount will be very very less. The surplus grains will be very very less, so they may not be ready to sell it in the market. But whereas if you take this medium and large farmers, they produce more, and very small amount of grains they'll keep it for their family's consumption, and remaining thing what they will do is that they will supply it to the market and they will sell it in the market. So after selling it, they'll gain some kind of profits, or you can say they'll get some money. And what do they do with money? What do they do with this money, whatever they have earned? So here what they will do is that, again, whatever the money they have earned, a part of the earnings is saved and kept for buying capital in the next year. As I have told when we discussed about capital, medium and large farmers, they get their capital from their savings. So from where they will get this savings is that after selling the surplus amount of money, surplus amount of grains, what they will do is that the money which they have earned, in that some of the money they will keep it for next year to use it as a capital to buy some of the goods, or you can say to buy some capital. And some power farmers, what they'll do is that some may use it to buy cattle, sometimes they may buy cattle, or sometimes they may also buy tractor, or sometimes they may set up shops. So what we are trying to say here is that whatever the extra surplus they have produced, especially this medium and large farmers, they will take that extra surplus to the market, and in the market they will sell it. After selling whatever they earned, in that some part of the money will be saved for next year. Why? To use it as a capital. And the remaining money, some people they may use for their own consumption, and sometimes they may also use it for buying cattle, tractors, or sometimes they may set up these shops. So with this we have completed about this all the farming activities that are performed in the village called Palampur. So in the next lecture we will discuss about this non-farm activities in the village. What kind of non-farming activities are done in the village? Thank you.